Hey guys, we're just about to watch an interview with myself and Kurt, the meditation mechanic, who's based in Brisbane, Australia. Most of you may or may not know Kurt, but unless you've met him personally, you won't actually understand the phenomenal guy he is. And that's why I wanted to interview him, because he is such the opposite of what we see in the world today. He has an absolute genuine understanding of compassion. He is the most egoless mind I've ever met. You know, it doesn't exist really in his world. And I wanted to kind of tap into him and understand more about his journey, because it's so phenomenal to see that this person exists in the world. He is really a mentor for me to show light on what we can truly become while still being our independent selves. He also shows him the ultimate version of compassion and unconditional love for ourselves, and that is a driving force for myself in being the ultimate person, and for also to see that other people can also have that. And he's particularly an amazing person just on the gender side, and showing that males and very strong females, such as what I previously was in terms of a lot of protection, that there is actually another way, and you don't actually have to be that way inclined, and that you can be a fuckload lighter and being an amazing individual without taking away any strengths. It's actually the opposing, and I hope you get what I get from him every time I see him through this interview. He does do healings. He does offer his wise words of wisdom regularly, and you can absolutely get in contact with him. I totally encourage that. It's www.themeditationmechanic.com.au. He is a phenomenal guy, and he can just help with everything, whether it's on a spiritual healing or just understanding that there is a potential within you that lies, that you can open up, and he can guide you to that, because he's been through it all, because he was just like us and still is, but just has been able to transform to someone that can show light into an absolute version of completeness, I guess. Yeah, anyway, hope you enjoy. Take it easy. Hello, Katie Rody.
Hello. How are you, darling?
I'm good, honey. I'm good. Thank you for absolutely allowing this time to pick at your brain. It's been like I wanted to tap into spirituality. I have a lot of questions about it, because I was super resistant to spirituality, you know, back in the day. And I wanted to kind of please check here, make sure they're hello, testing. Yeah, still works okay. And I wanted to talk to you about, first of all, what your thoughts are on spirituality, and your journey. And I guess I wanted to expose how unnerving spirituality is, I guess, you know, and that it doesn't have to be this fucking big, hairy, you know, big furball that, you know, you can't actually open up to, because you just are so unknown to what is out, you know, following that path, you know, that's like, you know, spirituality. Oh my God, where does that go? What does that mean? I'm not one of those people, you know. What are these one of those people, you know? And I guess my first question I wanted to ask you, first of all, because I know you haven't always been spiritual, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, well, correct / not correct at the same time. Defines.
Yeah.
It's one of those questions that's hard to answer, because, you know, we're all spiritual beings. It's just, you know, we start off asleep. We're in our own little slumber, in our own unconscious world, and very unconscious of self. So,
How did you get out of your like? What was the thing that kind of got you out of your slumber? Like, was there anything specific that happened, or?
yeah, definitely. I think there's a catalyst for that awakening for everyone in their own way. It's always a personal journey, and it's always something that everyone sort of experiences in their own manner. I grew up in a beautiful family, beautiful mother and father that it just really held space for me to be me.
Mm.
And I suppose my trigger point was when my mum approached me one day and said, "Look, she was going to a meditation class on a regular basis," and I was always like, "Oh, that's really cool." I didn't really understand it, so I didn't sort of look into it anymore. And she said, "Have a look at this," and sort of pointed me in the direction of connecting in and watching a video on connecting with angels and clairvoyance and clairaudience. So really connecting with that inner vision and meditation. And
How old were you then?
I was, I think 21.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
was it just like, whoa, fuck, yeah, or
Yeah.
yeah, and because did your mum usually come home and go, oh, I was talking to my angel last night, and was she like that, or was it just?
No, mum's a very quiet person. So mum was always, she just sort of stayed in her own world and didn't really express too much about it. I wasn't even quite sure what she did when meditating. She had gone to a number of classes and learnt Reiki and so forth, and she never went into explaining too much about it, I suppose, because I never really sort of brought it up. But all of a sudden, after watching this one video, it was just like ding, 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 just lit up, all of these light bulbs in me. And I was like, what? You can meditate and connect in and, have visions. And, there's these other that really, triggered me into this space of something, I wasn't yet aware of or hadn't remembered in that sense now from where I stand. And, it just opened my eyes to something more. I think I was starting to search for some more depth to life and my understanding of myself and my role and my purpose and so forth. And I found
is that something
meditation.
that did you speak to your mum about that, or is that something that was like an internal dialogue?
Just, an internal dialogue.
Yeah.
I'd, grown up in, a beautiful manner and my path through school and education, I just didn't fit in. I didn't like it. I hated being told what to do and having to study, and the schooling system was so far from accommodating what I was going to bring to the world. I just saw it as literally wasting my time.
Yeah, right.
So I got out as fast as I could. I got asked to leave at certain points.
Yeah, right.
But
you went back? Did you go back?
No, yes, I was sort of in between. As soon as I reached high school, I got myself into a little bit of troubles. But that was bound to happen because I was like, no, this is I'm just going to do whatever I want. So of course we turn either to rebel against the system that we don't feel we fit into, or we sort of surrender to it and become a part of it. I think many people sort of lose themselves in that too, whereas I think my will was strong to not have to accommodate to these rules and regulations and conditioning that I was, told to be a certain way, to act a certain way, to regurgitate information in a certain way and be graded on that sense. I never thought that was right, so I chose not to.
And did do you reckon your mum picked up on your rebellious attitude? And I guess, did that continue to happen, like up until you're 21, and then she was like, oh, or was it just something that she felt would be nice for you because that's what she was experiencing?
I think so. Like mum was always very, very conscious. she always saw me for who I truly was, not what I was sort of acting out on. So when she did bring me and direct me to watching some videos and sort of starting to talk about that, she was like, I think you're really inclined to connecting, and there's something here that's sort of, maybe awaiting for you. I just want to see what you think about it. And as soon as I sort of connected into that, I was like, wow. And I was like, can I come and join you in your meditation classes? And she was meditating with a beautiful group of ladies.
And here comes this 21-year-old. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and I was, she was sitting with, five ladies, in which I still sit with today, to this day.
Wow.
So they were my beautiful guides and teachers in my first steps of, really starting to open my eyes to who I truly was, and letting go of, all of these old paradigms of
stuff.
Yeah, understanding.
And what, like, when you first meditated, what did you experience? Like, was it just like you sat there and like there were stars and you just, like your heart ripped open, or was it just really like you fell asleep? Like, what actually happened for you, starting out with?
Well, I had never even really tried to meditate like at home or anything. I sort of thought, let's go to this group and let's see what this meditation's about.
Yep.
So I went along, not expecting anything, because I had no idea what to expect or what I was supposed to do, but I just sort of felt I needed to be there. My first meditation, I really come to an understanding that I was quite visual. My third eye was quite active in that sense, and I wasn't even sure what a third eye was.
Yeah.
So I connected in, and we sort of went into silent meditation, and I had visions of, all these spirit animals coming to me. I had, landscapes of, different worlds and colors and shapes and forms.
Did it freak you out? Did it freak you out that you were seeing this stuff and you didn't understand it, or?
No, not so much. I think it felt so right. Like, it felt like I just literally had been walking around with my eyes closed, and now I'd finally started to open them and to actually see what's here and what's, what you can tune into and really access. And I'd never really, I suppose I'd been so active, and I was always somebody outside doing something. I was into like lots of sports, motocross. I was always very active and keep myself occupied. I'd never really sat and focused my attention. I'd never sort of cleared my mind enough to see what was there, what existed in that space. So to have all of these visions of, these things that I couldn't have thought up, like, it was beyond my imagination. I was like, what is this, and where are they coming from? They're working together in such a, such an intelligent way. It was like these different, I had elephants and all sorts of beautiful beings coming in, and I was like, what?
And did you kind of from that moment, catch the drug, so to speak? You were so intrigued by what happened initially. You're like, wow, I wonder what could come from this. Like, what made you, I guess, commit to? Well, not even. Would you say that you committed? I mean, did you go, right, this is for me, I'm going to fully invest, or was it like a pull? Do you think it was more of a pull that you continued, or was it just an inquisitive?
I don't know. I suppose a little from all of those columns. I think, that's what really leads us, is we need that pull. The pull was definitely there. I was, intrigued by it, and it just felt so right. It felt like I'd done it, for a very, very long time, even though this was like my first night ever meditating. And I remember after finishing my first class, my teacher, I explained to her what I saw, and she was like, oh, how many times have you meditated? You've obviously meditated for a while. And I was like, this is my first time. And she was like, oh, okay. And I think in her mind sort of clicked over, we've got, I've got somebody here that I can really work with. And, she's been a huge, huge guide on my path and taught me so much, because it is the unknown, like in that space. And that's where people sort of come into a bit of fear, is they're afraid of what they don't know.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's just the unknown. You're not sure of it yet. You don't quite understand. There's a misunderstanding.
Do you
Yeah.
also think it's I mean, personally for me, I have a sister, and I've been meditating for a while now, but I have a sister, but I'll start with when I first meditated, pretty much I was falling asleep continuously. It was like, fuck, am I ever going to be able to, actually be conscious? But I was just like, whatever, I'm just going to go with the flow, and I fell asleep for pretty much the first year of my meditation. But um, my sister, one of the biggest things is for her is, the thoughts, and being able to, like actually, I think, and correct me, from your own experience, people are actually scared of, so listening to their thoughts, or even having or hearing the sound created from the thoughts being so intense now, because life is so like rah, 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 rah. Do you think that's also a resistance to that quietness?
Hugely.
Yeah.
People, having taught meditation now for a number of years, people are, it's one of their biggest fears is the noise within their own mind and actually sitting with themselves. When people drop all distractions, because meditation is really to shut off all of those senses and, not pick up a phone or not be doing this or that, or, all of a sudden you're left just with yourself, with your own thoughts, with your own state of being and your own consciousness. It's greatly, disrupting for people, because they're going, wow, I just can't stop this influx of, crazy, insane thoughts flowing through my head. Good. That's good. It's such a beautiful thing, and it's very confronting, but to sit with it with a sense of not feeding into it anymore, just observe it, accept it, and take responsibility that it's there, and that it's okay that there's noise in the mind. You've spent so many years creating noise. You've spent every moment distracting yourself, and now all of a sudden you're sitting in silence. Of course there's going to be, thoughts arising. Of course there's going to be discomfort arising, because you've never done it before. People have run from that. Every time they're left, even for one moment, they go, what can I do?
Yeah.
And quickly they pick up their phone, or quickly they ring somebody or text somebody, or start to distract themselves again. Nobody can sit with themselves. They can't find comfort with themselves. So that's what meditation is, so profoundly effective, is it teaches you to find comfort and to be okay with yourself just as you are. Even if that is a tremendously noisy mind or not, like, just find the strength to be with it. And the more you're with it, the more you observe it, and not feed into it, but just watch it, become a witness of it. The more you learn, why am I thinking all the time? What's the need to distract all the time? What am I running from? What emotions, are arising that I try to quickly swallow down and suppress? Why do I feel so uncomfortable with myself? How can you ever find peace if you can't be comfortable with yourself? Like, shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with with your journey as you unfolded, how have you transitioned? Because I think, you start meditating, and then it becomes a little bit too hard, or whatever else. I guess, how have you transitioned from what you were to what you are now, knowing full well that along the way there was going to have to be some realignment with your environment and your friends and your life, and whatever else, because there is, life changes, but how do you roll with that, because
That's beautiful. We gain nothing without sacrifice, and that's it. We sacrifice in that sense of, walking this path of healing, of mindfulness, of becoming more consciously aware, so more present with our lives, with ourselves, and with everything in our lives. my whole world flipped on its head, and I was at first not sure what was going to happen, and it did. Everything, changed, but changed for the better. I was, creating so much toxicity in my life, even with my own thinking of how I thought about myself, how I thought about others, how I reacted to things. I was very reactive, as many people are when they're unconscious.
What about like when you have a partner and you start on this journey and and you wonder about whether, you start on this journey, they're like so not that way inclined, but you just go, how do you, because that's the biggest fear of losing the person that you fell in love with, right? Yeah, like, relationships. I mean, and I ask this question purely because, there's a lot of feminine power coming through now where, I guess people are awakening and they don't want to disrupt their foundation, as physical as it is, because that's, that makes them feel comfortable and certain. How do you flow with that? Because, you just don't want to lose that person. I think of marriages and stuff like that, and you start to pinpoint this idea that's in your head that has been in your fucking head for like 2 years, like, oh, I should meditate, and you never acknowledge it, and then you start this journey, and then before you know it, you're like, you start seeing your partner around you, and it's just like, oh God, why can't you be with me on this journey? Is it something that you try to control, or, I mean,
Yeah.
I know.
I like that word, try to control. That's a good one, because that's the downfall. Trying to control is
and the same
our
with friends.
downfall.
Yeah, right.
And the need to control is also a huge downfall humanity faces every day.
Yeah.
We need to, in this space of connecting with self and aligning yourself with everything that does serve, so we can let go of these toxic things and we can find comfort and love and joy, with being in our own presence. We have to let go of control and surrender deeply. And, that's even to the sense of, it doesn't need to be a part of the thought pattern as well. Like, as you're bringing up, my partner, are they going to follow me? Are they going to be with me on this journey? Or am I walking alone? Or is this going to bring distance between us? Of course it's going to rattle things up. It's going to rattle you to the core. So it's going to rattle everything in your life, in your reality that you're looking at, to the core as well. Because you're starting to implicate and align yourself and listen to that subtle voice within that says, honor and respect yourself. You can't bring anything to your relationship until you truly respect and love yourself. So the fact is, we can be worried about what's going to happen in our marriages or our relationships and so on and so forth, and we might, suppress and push away meditation and healing and, a deeper self-awareness, because we're so afraid of things changing. We're so afraid of our comfort zone being taken from us, but we have to be able to find strength to move with it, knowing that everything you discover, everything you release that isn't serving you, that you can, start to live in a way that you can respect your partner, respect yourself, that that when you're connecting in with that deep sense of joy and you can find peace being with yourself, that you can actually share that with another, and you reflect that to your partner, and they're going to pick that up in their own way and move in their own way just as you are. But the fear doesn't need to be there that this might happen, or there's a possibility that we might break up or split up, or things are going to change. Change isn't a bad thing. If that needs to occur, then it needs to occur, because you're aligning yourself with what is serving your highest good. You cannot give to your partner the life, the love, the joy in which they truly deserve unless you give it to yourself first, unless you find it within yourself. You can't give of anything in which you haven't yet found. You don't have it to give. So that's what meditation brings to us, is just, and there's so much misunderstanding around what meditation is. It's not just sitting and, in silence and battling our mind. It's not a battle, it's a surrender. It's letting go of your learnings, what you've learned up until this point. It's literally a surrender of everything you have learned, because you carry so much that doesn't serve you. You've been conditioned from the world around you, from your parents, from your teachers, from your colleagues, from the world itself, from society, from community, to be like this, to act like this, to, not be your true self because you're so afraid of being judged or criticized or seen as being odd or different or unique in any way. So you try to be like everyone else. So meditation is just the essence of conscious awareness. It brings you back to be more aware of self. Where are you suppressing? Where are you not letting yourself fully express yourself? And that can bring so much to your relationship. You start to go, oh, wow, I really need to speak this truth, or I feel the need to just share this right now, and to start to let go of these old ways of interacting with each other that, we end up fighting, or we end up bickering, we end up, arguing about this and that. My beliefs don't align with your beliefs, and the way you see things is not the way I see things.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be a fight. We're supposed to just let it all go and be accepting that other people can be in another space and you can be in your space. And that's okay.
Yeah.
We respect it.
Yeah, and then obviously allowing that. So if it is, if you start to notice those things that you just trust, that when things are to be expressed more, or to go deeper, or there's more to unravel in your environment, that will come up. That will come up, and that will be presented to you. I wanted to ask you too. I've got lots of questions, but the first question I want to ask you is about the ego. So when I first started meditating, and I'm going to say two more things I want to ask you because I'll forget, right? So the first thing is ego, right? So when I first started meditating, I reckon probably for the first 8 months. Oh no, so I was asleep for about a year, and then about after that, I was so unaware, but a lot of my so-called contact with guides was a lot of ego. Yeah, and I wasn't really aware of that. I was just like in my own little world going, oh yeah, that's fucking fab, I'm doing this and this and this and blah, 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 blah. So unaware of it. So first question I want to ask you is, how do you become more aware of your ego and how it plays out in your life? That's my first question. Second question is about, because would you agree that spirituality has, first of all, can I ask you, would you say spirituality is a religion? Do you think? No. Okay. And therefore, I believe that spirituality has a really bad rap. It's had a bad rap. People are shy away from it. I want to know why you think that is, and if you agree with me. And third question, I know I'm asking a lot of questions and hopefully we'll remember anyway. Third question is about the baddies of the world, or the negative energies of the world, because people are very scared about being possessed. Would you agree that, our mind goes to Wah land and they go, oh man, but I'm scared I might get possessed by some kind of dark energy, and I'll, there's a scary movie. What's that movie that was really bad? Exorcism, weird exorcisms, and you'll have to like shake, so I want to know your thoughts on those things. But we'll start with the ego.
Yeah. All right. That's a beautiful space to start.
Yeah, I know, right? Because it's massive. I literally was kidding myself, and then Beanie said to me, have you thought it might be your ego? And I was like, really?
Well, ego is really our space of false identity. Yeah, ego gives us and informs us that we are separate from everything. It is, attachment to identification of, where we are in the world, what we're doing, what's our purpose, what we bring, what's our title, and so on and so forth. Ego likes a lot of credit. Ego, I suppose, it's a safety mechanism for us to not feel so vulnerable and raw. And ego is a tricky one because it is such a big part of what people think they are. We've come to know ourselves in this experience because we work very strongly in the mind. So the mind will always feed us the illusion that we are separate from everyone else and everything else. We tend not to see ourselves in others and not see ourselves in the world, in all life, all forms of life.
So you're saying connectivity? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So when we first start to become more aware of ego, it's that subtle, not so subtle sometimes, not so subtle in some people, depending on, your personality traits and so forth, is, when we start to look at it, you start to see, wow, I've been demanding of this acknowledgement. I need people to acknowledge me to feel better. I need, people to praise me, to think that I'm worthy. This is all false identity. This is feeding the ego. You need people to tell you that you're doing good in work or life and everything's, going okay, and you need all of this gratification, that you're better than everyone else or that you're less than everyone else. Again, this is a feed of ego depending on what side polarity it's on, whether you're worthless or you're worth a lot. Ego will tell you you're really good or that you're not good. So there's this whole fight that says, you're not worthy of, receiving these things, or that you should have all of these things, and that everyone should bow to you and respect you.
And why do we? Another question: were you protected as a person, and how did you come to realize why do we become so protected? Like, I mean, what are we protecting ourselves from?
I suppose so many people are trying to protect themselves from, I suppose, being seen in that sense for their true self. They start to put on all of these masks, thinking that, if I put this mask on of confidence, then I portray something to the world that I'm confident, I'm okay, I've got my shit together. Because, again, their biggest fear is to be naked and raw, and for others to think maybe they don't have their stuff together or that they're still trying to figure things out. They're most afraid of that. So they put that mask on. People put on all of these different masks in life, to pretend they're okay when they're not okay, or, they're...
Why?
People are afraid. They're afraid of being judged. They're afraid of, really, of experiencing the power of life, the raw nature of life. It's much easier to wear all of these masks than it is to stand in your truth, to be seen for who you are. It's much easier to fit in than to stand alone. Whereas the path of self-awakening will demand that you stand alone for some time, that you stop following everyone else, trying to be like everyone else, trying to succeed in the way you've been told, like everyone else.
That's so
and fit into
perfect.
This system.
Yeah.
And to stand alone in your own uniqueness. Every one of you is unique. Every person holds this divine spark of absolute beauty that nobody else has. So why does everyone try to be like everyone else? They're so afraid of being themselves, because when they're themselves, what if somebody doesn't like it? What if others cast judgment? What if it isn't enough? I can tell you, absolutely, it is enough.
Well,
It
that's
is full, it is complete, it is absolute. It just takes strength to stand in that. So face the fear and stand up. Stop feeding into the ego's illusions of, you shouldn't try that. What if other people look at you in that way? What if you fail? So what? What's there to fail? What are you? What are people judging themselves against? What are they comparing themselves against?
Yeah.
There's only one of you. You're doing it in your own unique way. You cannot fail.
Yeah, and that brings me to your point because look, no one know. Look, if you're listening to Kurt, he is an amazing man and an absolute mentor in my life and lots of friends around my life. And I, you know, when you say that strength, you're not your typical male, and I guess I want to bring that change in you because I don't have a photo, and I'm going to search for a photo and put this up there. But I want to show because Kurt, the meditation mechanic, is a mechanic. Okay, just so you know, guys, like he fixes cars for a living. So he's a Brisbane boy, through and through. He's got all that male testosterone down pat, which is brilliant. But his transition now in embracing the feminine spirit is fucking phenomenal. Like on point, 100%, the strongest man I know in my life in terms of being able to accept that and be open to that. I want to. And here you find him now, Kurt, images from 2009 to 2017, showing him from where to go. And the only thing that's changed, because he's still completely normal, is that he's just more aware. Dabble into that because, men for me, I see the world change around and I want men to continue to open up and be open to express themselves and understand that they're not just this type of version that has been told to them for fucking 180 years, that there's another version of them. And I guess I want to talk about your transition from being able to accept and receive this, because you've got mates around you now. I mean, they're obviously still fully loaded in the way that is of normality, inverted fucking comments, of male types. How do you understand? So can you explain a little bit about that for me and to the people listening? Because I'm sure lots of females would love to absolutely date you because you've got those those feminine traits that be able to tap into that emotion, and that's what I'm talking about. How does that evolve for you? How has it evolved, and how are you still able to converse with these very typical male dominated stereotypes now?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, it's been a massive journey, and it always is. But as I started to become more aware of myself, I was what arises naturally is what I had been very unconscious of, which was very much around my masculine side and very much around my feminine side as well. I hadn't accommodated, I hadn't really welcomed or accepted my own feminine aspect, which all of us have. We both have the yin and the yang, the feminine and the masculine. I had, always been that very much seated in that masculine energy of driving and, everything's okay, it's all going to be okay, da da da. But a lot of, just not accepting my own emotions, not dealing with things, not allowing myself to process them and be with it, be, fully naked in that. And that's what so many males and so many females are afraid of. True. Females are afraid of their own feminine side as well, because
that's probably one of them.
It can really put people on edge because they don't want to process their emotions. Because what if these emotions arise and say that things need to change, or you need to start doing different things, or start loving yourself more? People are afraid of even picking that up because they're afraid of what they're going to find and have to do. So as I sort of journeyed and connected in with more of that, I found deep compassion for myself and for others, that it was okay. I found the strength and the courage to start to look at the things of myself that I didn't have the courage to look at before. I'd sort of thought, that's weakness, that softness and gentleness and deep kindness was weak. But as I journeyed into it, again, I just found it was a fear of mine, that I was afraid of the raw power of deep compassion and kindness. So I started to be more compassionate and kind to myself, and started to accept myself for who I was and not have to pretend to be something. I started just being myself. I found the courage to, to express the words I wanted to express, to share of the teachings, to share of the presence that was so humble and soft, yet so strong. I found absolute strength in being myself. And I noticed before, that was weakness, when I couldn't express and give to people, hold space for people to be themselves and share beautiful words with them, share a beautiful embrace of a hug or a touch. We're so afraid of connecting in with this and asking people are they okay, and really listening and really caring. Why are we afraid of caring? Like, as I tuned into that, I was like, wow, I really, I'd always been a caring person and very heartfelt, but there was still a lot I hadn't explored and accepted. And the more I did, I found, wow, I became extremely potent in that sense, that I found my own feminine aspects awakening, and that started to balance my masculine. I didn't have to be this, strong macho. I found strength in serenity, in surrender. I found strength in beauty and deep, deep compassion and love. I started to share of love, to talk of love, which makes people feel uncomfortable because they're like, oh, what's this love? What's unconditional love? What are you talking about? That's so foreign to me. But
Well,
it's
it has this fluffiness to it, doesn't it? Really, that people are not used to. I mean, I was definitely one of those people,
And again, it's just because people are confused around the manner. Unconditional love is life. It's pure, untainted life. And that's what we have flowing through us. It's just that we I suppose, deny it expressing itself because we're afraid that people will see it and be uncomfortable and go, oh, what's that? I don't like it, or you're weird, or why are you talking of love when we're supposed to be talking of politics and work and how you get things done in life and so on and so forth. I started to find this love and I needed to express it. So I did. I started teaching of love and the ways of love, and love brought me into deep awareness of myself and life itself. The more aware I became of me, the more aware I became of everything and everyone. I was able to see the pain in others, so I could hold space for them to shift it and to let go. I started to see the connection between all human beings and this beautiful earth that we live on, and the waters we drink and the food we eat. I started to give deep gratitude, for everything and everyone, because it was so significant and it was so powerful.
Did you did you come from a background of being told that crying was for pussies?
That what was
Crying,
was
like,
crying.
yeah, was that? Were you like, oh, I'm not gonna fucking cry. I'm not that person. I'm good. I'm good. I'm really good.
Definitely, I think I grew up around that. Obviously, being around young males that are unconscious of their own, you know, uh, themselves. Truly,
How did you
always,
overcome? Yeah,
crying is weak and
yeah.
so forth. And I didn't. I was never one to cry a lot, nor did I feel I needed to. But I suppose the more I started to heal, I let go of those deep burdens I was carrying. Then, yeah, the floodgates opened, and I found absolute beauty in crying because it was a release. It was a surrender of the pain and the hurt I carried, that that I conflicted to myself. These painful memories of me, telling myself these crazy things and putting myself in situations that were so toxic for myself. And I was like, when I could finally cry, I could let go of it. And, it's a surrender. It's a release. We release through tears. We release as we let go of emotions. And, it heals us so deeply. So, I'm all for letting tears flow because it's so natural. Why do we suppress something that's so natural?
I know. I get it, absolutely. I'm sitting here and I asked the question. So if because they're obviously in the world that we live in, we are very guarded and protected, and you know, we don't really see the value in um, going within because we're unaware of its potential. So we just because we're unaware. But if you were to say anything to people that were quite protected and didn't want to or didn't feel that calling to go on, is there anything that you would say to them to say, to kind of to ignite something like a click to go,
Absolutely.
you know.
You just, people that are so shut off are just, people need to know it's okay. It's so safe and it's so okay to let go. You don't have to keep trying to fit in with everything and, agree with everyone and just, it's time to let go and start to look within your own heart and find life. This is where your pure joy and life will meet you, is in your connection with self. You need to find courage to move beyond just, being afraid to even try. You can't fail. You just need to connect in with you, know you, understand you, and your eyes will open to a way of life that you could have never imagined. Magic, absolutely pure magic, will pour into every part of your life. You get to live. Unfortunately, so many, it looks like they're living. They move through life in the ins and outs of daily life and, earning money, living to work. That's not life.
Yeah.
Life is not there. Life is in here, inside, connecting with yourself, knowing yourself, and then experiencing everything else. So don't be afraid to look. Find courage to let go of your own ignorance and narrow-mindedness. Drop your beliefs. What do you got to lose? Drop your beliefs. Drop your so-called understanding of who you think you are, and tune in, and just maybe, you'll be so very surprised in what you'll find. And I can vouch for that because I was so ignorant in my own sense, and I thought, I've got it together, I know what life is, I know what's going on, I know how things are done. And I knew nothing. I wasn't even living. I wasn't even awake. I was fast asleep. Yes, as so many can move through their entire life fast asleep. So the question is, do you want to live? Yeah. Open your eyes, open your ears, open your heart to the true miracle of life. Life awaits you. Life that you can experience such heights.
And that's just, and it's so perfect because it's, personally for me, it's so perfect. I feel the same way. But I guess it's just allowing that space, say 10 minutes a day and just focusing on your breath or maybe listening to some music, would you say? Or, is it, just walking?
Anything and everything. Music is such a powerful tool. Meditation, but meditation can be exactly that. It's either to sit in quiet meditation with yourself, to listen to music by yourself, to sit in a group, or to walk in nature, to be in nature. Nature, to be on the earth, to be with the earth is one of the most healing and nurturing things we can give to ourselves. You can meditate in nature. Just meditation is to be consciously aware of the moment. Don't, when you walk through nature, don't start thinking of things. Just be there, observe the beautiful colors, the sun rays moving through the trees, the sun kissing your skin and the warmth of it, the breeze upon your skin, the birds in the trees, the earth beneath your feet. That's meditation. Meditation is just to be consciously aware of where you are in that moment.
Yeah.
Not having to be anywhere else. Let go of everything that pulls you out of that moment and just be there. If you're sitting, just be there. If there's thoughts, let there be thoughts. Don't be worried about it. If there's no thoughts, let there be no thoughts. It doesn't matter either way. Don't
Just
choose
keep
a side.
going. Yeah.
Don't decide one is better than the other. That one is right, one is wrong. It is what it needs to be. Listen to music and just feel the music. Fully be with it. When you're reading a book, be with the book. You can meditate. I literally don't leave a space of meditation. My life is meditation because I'm aware in every moment. I'm not unconscious. I'm consciously aware in every moment. I'm in tune with my body. I'm listening to myself, my own intuition, how I can react and respond to that moment that arises. I don't come in with premeditated ideas of what should be, so I don't have expectations and everything. I don't have rights and wrongs and this and that, and it should have been this way and it could have been that way, and then I suffer. All of this only brings suffering. I respond to the moment spontaneously and absolutely with my full awareness. So if all of a sudden lots of thoughts flood my mind, that's okay. I'm not going, oh no, quick, push them out. I don't want to think. I'm supposed to be meditating.
I only want one.
They're there. It's okay. Just observe them. Watch them. Listen. Don't feed into them. I don't start then thinking, oh, I could do this, and create more noise. I just observe it. I just watch it. But if there's absolute silence, which most of my days now, after many years of meditating, again, it's a practice. At first there was lots of thoughts, less and less, over many years, because I could master my mind. This is what we come into mastery of self. You master your mind, you master your emotions. Then you're not so pushed and pulled by life. You are centered. You find balance. Not everything triggers you. You're not reactive to everything. You're just responding to everything, consciously responding. So there's a great difference of those that are on the first steps, but we are all steps moving towards mastery. Mastery of your mind means you choose to think when you want to think, and otherwise you are in absolute silence. Many people think it's so far-fetched, but it is an absolute thing. Everyone can obtain and reach to this level. It just takes a little time and a little patience. So this is in your hands. You either apply it each day, apply yourself to life. Don't just be in life, getting pulled left, right, center, this way, that way, having to do all these things and just suffering the entire time. Your birthright is to not suffer and to be in an absolute space of pure bliss and joy. This is your true birthright, and I'm here as an ambassador for this because first, of course, I have to embody it. I had to walk the path to eliminate all of this suffering, to embody these teachings, to share such powerful messages of what is possible, what is your living potential. I aim to express through my teachings, through my presence, through my words, through my music, through everything I do, living potential. I show people what is possible. I don't want you to reach where I am. I want you to go far beyond. I want you to know what you are possible of doing. Your potential is infinite. What do you want? What quality of life do you want? And that's in your hands. If you want a life that's full of suffering and great sadness and hardship, that everything's so hard, earning money, doing this, having to work to survive, and just surviving through life, then that's up to you. But you have the choice. This is your reality. This is your life. This is your state of being, whether you let people affect you or not. I don't get affected by people because I don't let them affect me. If they bring all this heaviness, negativity, I got out of victim mentality a long time ago, because we all walked into it that, oh, so-and-so did this, they upset me, they're making me struggle, works like this, so I'm suffering, and I'm stressing all the time, this and this. We blame everyone else, but we don't take full responsibility. Nobody wants to take responsibility for their own lives. They want to blame it on everyone else. I took responsibility, and I started to master my own mind, emotions, finding my balance, taking time out of my day to connect in to the earth, to myself, to listen to what is intuitively driving me, what serves me. I only follow joy. If it doesn't bring me joy, I don't do it. That's as simple as it could become. At first, I did lots of things that I didn't enjoy, and I found great suffering. Then I went, why am I doing this? Why work a job that brings you great unhappiness? Why be in relationships that bring you great unhappiness? Why invest yourself, your energy, your time in things that bring you great unhappiness? You do it, nobody else. Nobody has a gun to your head. They don't make you go and do those things. It's your choice. You're just too afraid of the unknown. People need to go, okay, well, if this feels right to me, I need to make change.
Yeah.
It's only there as an alarm bell to say, hey, look, excuse me, tap on the shoulder.
Yeah.
You're feeling this great suffering and this, pain, because you need to do something about it.
You have
Nobody's going to
choice.
come in and sweep you off your feet and save you. You need to do something about it. You need to put in your effort and go, no more will I accept this. This is my life. This is my experience. I choose to fill it full of beautiful things that bring me the greatest of joy, and then the value of my life goes through the roof, because everything in my life becomes absolutely magnificent.
Yeah.
And that's your choice, just as it was my choice. And I choose to do things that bring me the greatest of joy, that make my heart sing. I share of those things that inspire me, that drive me, that I come to know and understand, so you can find the strength in yourself to do the very same thing.
From your heart.
Yes. I stopped listening to the insane thoughts of the mind, and I started connecting back into my heart. What did my heart need? It needed to heal. It needed to let go of all these toxic thoughts. It needed to let go of these toxic relationships, and let go of anything in my life that was not serving me. I was investing time and energy in places and people that assisted me in no way but bringing me down and down again. I'd come in really nice, and then all of a sudden, even that, people watch media and news and connecting with all these negative things. They just lower your vibration so much.
Yeah.
And they implant all of these thoughts that you're under attack and people are coming to get you and everything's wrong, and exactly when we come back to that question before, that I'm mega possessed and there's these negative things in the world.
I was just literally thinking about that.
Gonna get me, and you attract that if you're thinking of that. You don't yet understand the power of your own thoughts and manifestation. Your ability to manifest and to create follows your emotions and thoughts. That's almost like the blueprint for what you're bringing in, what you're attracting. You become like a magnet. As we said, like what we put out into the world, we receive back. So if you're putting all of those negative thoughts that something's going to happen to me, all these worries, stresses, what do you think your reality is going to reflect to you? All of that, because you're yet to learn that's not what you need to be projecting. Stay in a centered, balanced space of mindset. Understand and express your emotions as they arise instead of swallowing them down. Face your fears with a deeper sense of awareness. You see, people are afraid of the fears because it's almost like they're those gremlins hiding in darkness.
Totally. They're going to eat me.
It's nothing to be afraid of. It's just you haven't yet shed your light of awareness upon them. So they're scary because they're shadows. They're like shadows casted on the wall out of darkness. It's only an absence of light, an absence of awareness. When you let them arise, you hold them, you shed your awareness upon it, you start to see, oh wow, it was just something about myself I didn't yet understand. Now I understand it. It's nothing to be afraid of. And no longer does it have to hide in the closet. No longer is it a gremlin.
Yeah, like a gremlin. Yeah.
There's nothing to be afraid of. It's only you. It's just you misunderstand yourself.
Yeah. So perfect, Kurt. So good. So good. I'm going to wrap it up there, beautiful, just because my computer's about to run flat very soon. But thank you, Kurt, the meditation mechanic. He's on the web. He's also, if you're in Brisbane, you can absolutely access Kurt physically. He does lots of healing, and we do meditation at Soulfit, but also get online. Amazing, obviously, if you've been staying tuned with us for the entire hour. He's obviously a profound man with lots of wisdom. Every time I listen to him, I go, fuck, I need to remember that, It's so fucking good. I absolutely love it. Thank you, Kurt, for
my pleasure, darling.
Sharing all that awesome stuff. So good. So good. So good. I just want to keep sharing it.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's always a truest honor to share, the wisdom of my heart and implant some little seeds for people and let that blossom. So I'm always there to help and support in whatever way I can. And I wish everyone all the best and much love.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. You can join me at nicola-stone.com to hear all the latest in